Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today a very fun video. So recently we got patch notes from next upcoming update, and there was like one small major thing that was kind of like hidden in the middle of rest of the bug fixes. She-Hulk fixed an issue where she could combo into a heavy attack. Now, so first of all, that is called an issue. So let's kind of like go over what I think about it. Do I think it is an issue? Possibly. It's a gray area because it is one of these things that kind of like goes in fighting mechanics, in character speed, in character range, and each champion is different. If this wasn't unintended, fair enough. Let's say they have a right to call it an issue, and let's say they have a right to fix it. Now, do I think this was absolutely busted and game-breaking thing? No. Yes and no in the same sense. Like, She-Hulk could cheese a lot of stuff. Once she got the fight under control, she could beat literally anybody with her damage ramp up, with her furies working. So under certain set of conditions, she was one of the best characters in the game. Do I think she was overall the strongest, best, most versatile character? No. We have Quake, we have Ghost, we have Omega Red. We have champions that could do more in more different situations and were overall better. Do I think that made her like one of the top 10 champions? Yeah, possibly somewhere in top 10 towards the bottom level of it, and that is the reason why I ranked her, because I knew she has this ability, or she has this issue in this case, and I also knew that she has been exactly the same way with the same animations ever since she had added in the game 3 years ago. So this has been an ongoing issue for 3 years. Now, what has changed? The simple thing that changed is that it started to cost Kabam money. It was being used to clear high-end content cheaply, because it was a common solution. She-Hulk was an old champion, majority of the people have her, and people who learned how to use her were saving a lot of units and resources, and obviously Kabam does not like such thing. Now we have Exhibit A, Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan essentially can do exactly the same thing She-Hulk can. His heavy attack is just as fast, it has 100% success rate. Now, it's not as relevant to his ability set currently, and it doesn't work as well as She-Hulk did, because She-Hulk's part of what made her powerful was her furies with inbuilt taunts and the fact that the opponents would always launch heavy attacks, and that is the main reason why you were able to trap opponents in the corner. However, this is the same interaction. Nobody in Kabam talks about it. It has been in game for just as long. Nobody cares. Another exhibit could potentially be Massacre. Massacre's light hit has the longest reach in game, as far as I know, and he's able to kind of shallow evade and light intercept every champion in the game. The things we were doing to Ultron with Corvus and stuff like that and being sly, Massacre can do it any champion. And is that a bug, or is that just a kind of matter of character design and his reach ability? Now, another issue, for instance, would be Kamal Khan, which is a bit different but still goes to the same kind of like degree. Kamal Khan is able to nullify any buff so long as she has 3 or more furies with her special attacks, even though her description only selects a couple. And it has been left in game for years now. Why? Because nobody uses Kamal Khan, aside from like 5 people. But yeah, it doesn't cost them money, so it's probably not even worth investing the time and a paycheck to a designer or programmer to attempt and fix it. Now, She-Hulk, on the other hand, started to cost them money. So obviously it had to be dealt with, and then like I'm air quoting the dealt with here. But yeah, so anyways, that isn't even like my gripe here. That's kind of like fair enough. It is one of those great things. I can live with the decision they're making. I'm not surprised that they are changing it. You could see it coming, and that's fair. It could be interpreted as bug, it could be interpreted as like base character kind of like mechanic based on her animations and her attack speed. And whenever some little monkey comes out and goes and says that all champions have the same speed heavy attack, he's clearly talking out of his ass, just like he was when he said that Cyclops is an effective Alliance quest defender or whatever he has said. He has had many retard moments on forums which clearly shows that he knows very little about the game, and he's just forwarding the information that he has been told to forward by his superiors. But that's fine, that's his job. I'm gonna leave him alone, even if I think he's extremely incompetent at it. But now we're going to talk about management in Kabam. And time again, I have said in many of my videos that I do not have a problem with what Kabam does. I do have major issues with how they do it. Perfect example was 12.0, where they simply dropped major changes without kind of like any involvement of their player base, any kind of recognition of the changes that we will have to go through and the effects it will do to us. Now, if 12.0 is too long for you to remember, we can take a look at Act 6. What happened in Act 6? They simply dropped out of the blue with like a couple of weeks notice the information that 4 stars won't be allowed in it. And this is going to be like the first piece of content ever. 4 stars aren't good enough. And there I went over several kind of points what I thought about it. It definitely only difference it made was a price tag on your account, which kind of like got increased massively with the fact that you couldn't take in your 3 and 4 star synergy champions or specific utility answers, and that maxed out 4 star is essentially same level as rank 3 5 star or and bigger than rank 2 and 1 5 stars obviously, but those are still usable. So Kabam was not trying to protect you, they were not trying to do anything for you, they were just increasing the price label on the content, which backfired heavily because absolutely everybody hates 6.2, the gates, the restrictions. Hardly anybody wants to complete that content because it's an absolute horseshit of a show. But again, what they do can be understood, can be translated. How they do it is fucking givable. Like, that is the major problem. So any business has several levels of management. The highest level of management, which typically would be general director, the leaders of their sectors and owners of the company, and so on and so forth, is who decides what they're going to do, what the announcements are going to be, where they're going to take the game. And grudgingly, we do have to admit that they have been doing fairly good job. They have kept the game running for 4+ years, so they have managed to maintain our interest in it. The game is successful, so even though we often disagree or don't like the things they do, quite often they are the correct things to do when you consider them about longevity of the game. Like 12.0, in instance, was a perfect example of breakdown in communication and the way you approach the situation. However, it was a brilliant move when it came to ensure that longevity of the game, because it did add more game balance, it removed perfect block, it changed the way champions work, and the fact that we are able to play with the game for a longer period of time and arguably make it more skill based because perfect block isn't a thing anymore. So was 12.0 bad? No, it was good. We're all benefiting from it right now because we're still playing the game. How they did it was fucking awful. So one thing becomes clear here. Highest level of management in Kabam is actually on the ball. They know what to do, they know when they want to do it, they know how to achieve the things that they want to get at. However, the second level of management is basically the department that is responsible of how you're going to do it, how you're going to implement it, how exactly these changes are going to look like, and how are you going to interact with your consumers. And that department is horrible. Like, it is one of the fucking most pathetic pieces of human gathering that you can potentially see in this world, because they fuck up time after time after time after time. So that is what I think about Kabam management structure. The people on top might not be the nicest people, they might be cold and calculating, but they kind of have to be if you want to succeed in business and if you want to run and ensure some sort of longevity of the game. You have to make tough decisions, not always everybody's going to like it. However, the how-to department, how-to management in Kabam is, and I quote, rat shit eating, knowledge deprived sacks of misery who couldn't make their customers happy if they offered happy ending after every public announcement they do. And there I was quoting myself on a bad day, but still. So the point is that changing She-Hulk, that's fine. Problem, how they're doing it. They're doing out of the blue with weeks notice. They have known this for 3 years since she was in game files. There's no kind of indication, no warning, no nothing for none of these 3 years. When it became popular, even several months ago, when 6.2 came out, when She-Hulk started to shred champion boss after champion boss, they should have brought attention to it. They should have said, hold on, perhaps it's not time to rank her up. We might change her. That is not working as intended. We're going to class it as an issue and fix in an upcoming update. Now, they did that? No, they did not do that. They just kept quiet. They acknowledged their knowledge of this thing in one of the Summoner Showdown articles, I think about Royal, because, yeah, there was a nice line of text mentioning him using She-Hulk, beating champion. So Kabam clearly knew, they were aware, they saw that. It's just the fact that their fight analytics, statistics hadn't probably come in properly, and they didn't realize how big of an issue it is. Now that they realized, it's starting to cost them money, so it has to be addressed, so they're addressing it. So now the biggest problem is here, they're doing it out of the blue, without warning, and they're not offering anything for it. Now, only decent thing they can actually do while still sticking to their guns is offer rank down tickets. Now, that is kind of like the one salvage scenario Kabam can do and say like, okay, so here are going to be She-Hulk specific rank down tickets for any rarity of She-Hulk, 4 stars, 3 stars, and 5 stars, and you have them from rank 5 to rank 1 or whatever, so everybody can decide where their She-Hulks are going to be at. Because the facts here are simple. This character has been in game for 3 years, has been buffed like a year ago, has recently gained popularity, people had started using it, and Kabam knew it all along that she's able to do it. It was all over the forum posts mentioned that she can chain her heavy attack. There are plenty of videos on my channel, on different channels, up there for months. However, they didn't even mention it. They didn't even class it as an issue publicly. They didn't even acknowledge that they're looking into it. They're just changing it out of the blue. So once again, we're at a situation where what they do is okay. Questionable, I can accept. How they do it? Fucking awful. Shame. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. They clearly are doing something without considering their consumers, without considering us as players. And if you don't like it, tough shit, eat a potato and go to bed. But yeah, guys, I guess that is going to be it. So my biggest kind of like takeaway from this video is that once again, this is largely, I think, kind of like a planning error. They should have come up with a flat out announcement, not try to sneak it in changelog, and offered rank down tickets for She-Hulk specifically, should player choose to use them. But yeah, that will do for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and catch me on soon. Later.